Before doing the Orns Friday focus, I just want to say a few words about Oliver Phillips, the former Watford Observer assistant editor and journalist. Oliver Phillips really cared about Watford Football Club. He cared about what was going on the pitch and off, and his stewardship at the Watford Observer reflected that. His reporting reflected that. He was passionate, he was a talisman, and he was an inspiration. Many journalists, not just in Watford, but beyond and across the English countryside, really admired and respected Oliver Phillips. Oliver Phillips was an institution, a throwback. I remember reading him at times during the Graham Taylor years, the Elton John years, of course, and you could see it in the writing, you could see it in what he did. It was someone who really did care about Watford Football Club, and his reporting and his stewardship at Watford Observer was second to none. He will be sorely missed. Oliver Phillips, rest in power. Now the Orns Friday focus on Reading versus Watford. Well, this will be the third time this season that Reading and Watford face off. The second time was literally just last month in the FA Cup when Watford were beaten by Reading at the Medeski Stadium by a score of 2-0. It was a day that Watford fielded the bulk of their team with reserves, really an all-youth team, and the Watford side played well, but they just didn't have the greatest first half of the game. They were pretty bright and positive, many of the players, in the second half of the game. But Reading dominated. Reading had most of their championship caliber players in the starting lineup. Watford won't have to worry about Andy Carroll tomorrow. Andy Carroll, who created had that really nasty tackle on Christian Eriksen of Manchester United during Reading's cup exit a few weeks ago, will be missing this game of a straight red card. And so that is a big break for Watford. Watford, who were really lifeless against Middlesbrough just last weekend, are looking to bounce back and try to reassume third place. They're in fourth at the moment coming into this game against the Reading side, who have really gone off the boil over the last few weeks. They have really been languishing in the bottom half of the table, only a few places from the bottom. Reading were really flying high earlier in the season, but injuries and a number of other changes have really hurt this team, and they can really see that they are a long way off from where they were a few months ago. But for Reading, at least, they know that because the championship is so bunched up, 2 or 3 wins can get you right back into the thick of things where the playoffs are concerned. And by that token, Watford also know that they're going to have to be careful if they are to avoid defeat against Reading for the second time in under a month. Now, Watford defeated Reading earlier this season at the Vic with a November win by a score of 2-0. I think it's going to be similar to that for Watford again coming up tomorrow. I think it will be a game that Reading will bring their physicality to. That's something that they are very good at. But I think this is the game that Watford are going to have to master with patience and care and passion and belief. Those things must be on display for Watford if they are to overcome a Reading side who are physical, who can get you on the counter attack, and who do have some speedy and dangerous players who can score goals for them. Now, granted, they don't have the brawn of an Andy Carroll. They do have players who can put the ball in the back of the net and give Watford a lot of problems. Watford's defense is going to have to be a lot better than it was against Middlesbrough, and Watford are going to have to seize the opportunities that they have in these away games. And remember, usually in these away games, there's only maybe 4 or 5 chances in the entire game to score in. Watford blew a number of those at Middlesbrough last week. When those chances come tomorrow at the Medeski, they're going to have to make no mistake if they are to get 3 points from this Reading side. I think it's on the cards for Watford tomorrow to do that. But Reading are not going to make it easy. Watford, who will have a couple of additions, at least hopefully they will, in terms of players back from injury, must get 3 points here because another defeat going into the game next week against none other than Burnley would be catastrophic. This has been the Orns Friday Focus.